Well, greetings everybody, and welcome to yet another edition of the Inworld Review. This is a program where we flutter around all over something called a hypergrid, which is a system that connects all the open simulator, open worlds together. And we look at arts, destinations, and anything else of interest, really. And we do a bit of connectivity work with a wonderful hypergrid safari, which we will also mention very shortly. Joining me here is my co-presenter, Thirza Ember, who of course runs the safari. Welcome, Thirza.
Thank you, and thank you for saying I run it. I run after it mostly, but it's nice to be here today.
Yes, indeed. Or just crash it. Right, and also a tech wizard who fiddles with knobs and does all sorts of mixing of audio and visual and video and everything else. Sitting by my side here, as always, James Atlloud.
Oh, thank you, Mal. I've got my lovely mask today from Mardi Gras. I'm feeling so festive.
Yeah, well, why not? You know, that's where festivities are not designed to finish; they're designed to go
Yeah,
on forever.
yeah.
What's the word? No, I think it was an album title. Somebody did an album title called "The Art School Dance Goes On Forever,"
Ah, very good.
which, especially when
Lovely.
you're at art school, is a very good idea indeed. And we also have two wonderful guests together on this show today. Firstly, I've got Karima Hoisan, who's been here before, once in Second Life and once here some time ago, and it's a welcome back to her. Um, Gorgeous voice too. You can't mistake this voice, can we? Karima, welcome.
Uh, thank you. Oh, I'm so happy to be invited back. So good to see you and Thirsa and James and be on the show again. It's wonderful. I'm ready to have a good time.
Wonderful. And I don't think he's been on the show before, but he's a long time sort of collaborator, partner, as it were, with Karima, and that's Dale Innes.
Yeah, hello. Yeah, it's definitely my first time here. I've been
Yeah,
in the on the other side of the. I've been watching a lot of times, but I've never been on, so it's a great pleasure.
right.
Yeah, welcome.
Yeah, and I think I remember you in Second Life actually more than anything else from
Oh
way back
yeah, Second
in my
Life
career.
since
Were you part of the crowd
2006.
with For Coffee Never at one point?
Well, sort of. Yeah.
Yeah, well, no, we had
Well,
meetings.
they didn't like me much.
Yeah, yeah, we had meetings, and I was with Tara, who always wanted to go to Prokofy's weekly things, and I'm sure I remember you from there, oddly enough. And
Yeah,
that's really
sort of.
going back. Anyway, enough of that. We're not going to go. We're celebrating the now, not the ancient
Good
history.
times, good times.
So we'll be coming to you two very shortly. First of all, we're just going to do a little bit of looking at the news from the week, and I'm actually going to start off with Thurza going through. She's got some pictures for us advertising various things. So I'm going to hand over to you, Thurza, and we'll do that bit first, I think.
Yes, let's do it. There's a lot happening this week. Obviously, last week was really busy with Halloween, and in fact, yesterday there were quite a lot of events for a bonfire night. I didn't sadly get to any of them, but there were some really good things. Over on Third Rock Grid, they had 30 people, and they crashed at the Star Trek roleplay Sims, Astraeos. They crashed a starship into a building, and that was their
Oh my
bonfire.
goodness.
So that must have
Oh,
been super
Wow,
fun.
wow.
I'm looking forward to seeing the pictures of that. And loads of other events. Obviously, Kinky Grid had a bonfire festival as well. So lots of fun things to do in OpenSim always. But this is what's coming up in the next few days. The first thing you can see is an event by an artist called Kisma Riedling, and she has an installation, a build that's called Ukraine Rebirth, and that will be on over on Craft Grid. And all the details for these events, I'll be putting them in the details down below on this video, so that afterwards you can come back and watch the video again if you're watching live right now, and catch all those addresses. The second thing I wanted to talk.
you've given me some notes here. I might as well just read
Sure,
out. You can go to a website for that. It's called visionaryartistpath.com.
that's
And it's
right. That's
and
Kisma's
it's
website.
yeah, it's being held on one of Art Blues Sims, in fact. So
That's
I
correct. Yes.
here,
Good old Art Blue. He's always such a supporter and creator of art. Him, and of course Juliet's Surreal Dreaming as well.
yeah,
So
great couple there. Yeah,
next up is over on Neverworld Grid,
yeah,
on the big continent that they have set up over there, where there is free land for anybody who has got a Neverworld avatar, and who goes there, on occasionally, at least once a month. They have a big formal masked ball. So if you're like James and you just don't want to stop wearing those masks, this is the place for you. He just needs to get a jacket
I
and
do
he's
it because
good
I
to go.
can. I do it because I can.
Exactly. So that's over on Neverworld Grid. Again, it's in Franco's place, which is a beautiful sim over there. Wide open spaces, and the land is free. So always worth taking a look at that. That's Gobega Sasha Torta's Grid, Neverworld.
and that's you say it's a new continent, yeah?
Yeah, I think it's like 32. I'm probably wrong, it's probably more, but there were 32 regions last time I checked. And they have all different areas. There's a place where it's more elfin, the place where it's more vampire, the place where it's more sort of modern contemporary beach living. You can choose where you want to be, and you can put a shop there, you can put a museum, a gallery of your art if you wish, whatever you like. And it just means that you're able to share your creativity with more people, because it's a place where people can go walking, riding, driving cars, because there's roads everywhere. So it's a great place if you like to move about rather than teleporting. It's a sort of it's a different concept. It's much more like old-fashioned Second Life, where you could go walking across a continent and see all different things. Very pretty. Anyway, that's their party. And then the next thing is there's a Dreams of the Dead event, which is the big event over on Pangaea Grid, which is having this long festival of art and culture. As you know, it's been going on all year long. And Nix, our friend Nix, is on there. He's got an event. It's about Dreams of the Dead. Very colourful, of course. We all know how his work is big and bright.
Just anecdotally, I noticed it's late, but we just had an application from him, sorry, for OSCC, so that could be interesting.
Very nice. Good to know. Anyway, Joao is going to be playing at this event, so you've got the double whammy there, because great art and great music. And of course, then Marlon will be doing some DJing after the live music. So that's over on Pangaea Grid, and that's on the 11th. And then next up, I really wanted. Did you see the note about this? This is lovely. This is Elf Dream with Yichud Mooney. I never know how to say his name right. And I had never really understood what was going on there, but I think you have the note that Cataplexia gave. Do you see that?
Yeah, she says, you're right, Whitechard? Whitchard? Mooney does weekly live storytelling Fridays at noon on alternate metaverse. His stories are sci-fi and elven tales. Though he once in a while presents other authors, most of his stories are his own writing and are very well written and immersive. He live streams a computerized reader track that he has pre-made. It's wonderful.
It sounds great, doesn't it?
That's Cataplexia's comment, I should say.
I've got to see that. I've never been. I really want to see that. It sounds wonderful. Anyway, so that's every week too, so that's worth remembering. Now this is coming up. We're talking about people who do storytelling. Our old friend Shandon Loring, Mr. Storyteller from Kitely. You remember the Shanachie
he's
library
wonderful.
back in the day. Anyway, so he's still working. It's Storylink Radio now that he's operating with, and that is the On the Edge of Dream event. And this is a book. And the poster shows you the whole ISBN number and everything. It's a book that he's presenting, talking about, and it's to do with Celtic women. So that should be a lot of fun. You can go into Second Life and listen if you want, but if you like to stay in Open Sim, Kitely, you can go to the sim and sit there and listen to it, or else you can just listen on YouTube if that's better for you. So
I'm
he
with you.
does the
Right.
full package. So that should be fun. And he was very excited to be mentioned on the show. So hello, Shandon. I think we all, hello, Shandon. We should tell him hi because I know
Hi,
he watches.
Shandon.
How's that going?
Then next up is Kat. She's doing this fantastic thing, which is a course of learning to DJ. And it's, I'm not sure it is a 2-day class. I may have got an older poster here. But you go there on Monday the 7th of November. And as you can see from the notes, there's a whole load of wonderful things you can download for free, which is a sort of shoutcast software that allows you to do DJing without spending any money. So this is very
yeah.
cool. And she teaches you how to do it. You have to have obviously the software downloaded beforehand. And again, I will put the notes of what's required in the comments section below this video so you can see it.
Yes, I'm just here. This, of course, is Cataplexia, who was commenting a minute
Yeah.
ago on that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, free broadcaster and DJ with 16 years of experience she's got, so that's pretty
Yeah,
good.
she knows what she's doing.
The class
There's
is
a lot
free.
happening over on AMV. You know, they have so many classes.
Yeah, and as Thirza says, I'm not even going to read out the things you have to download. I mean, it's not a lot, but it's just, you can't remember everything, can
It's
you?
easy
So,
to copy paste, isn't it? Really.
Yeah. So look in the show
So-
notes, and it will tell you a little bit about the stuff you want to guess if you want to follow that out.
And the next up is I was over at Tangle the other day. They redid their welcome sim. It is fabulous. It looks so beautiful. They just closing down now their Halloween expo, and of course the Christmas expo over on Tangle Grid is always worth going to see. There's lots of little prizes you can win. You can do a little hunt, and there's always loads of free stuff and things you can buy too because they have a. Sorry.
I was going to say it's not actually Christmas, is it? It's a winter wonderland. That's
Right,
the
yes,
whole
sorry.
season.
But
They
it's, you
focus
know,
on the
it is-
season. Yeah.
Absolutely. But if you're looking for Christmas stuff, that is the place to go. But they also have this thing which I thought was very interesting. There's free land over here on Tangle. Tangle is an incredibly reliable grid. It's been online forever. And if you want some free land, this might be a good place to get started. Or just as a kind of a secondary home that you're going to use regularly, but not as your primary place of occupation. And it's a fun grid. I love it. Leslie's a great lady. The next thing up is on Third Rock, and this should be my last poster. It's an event that's happening on Saturday, next Saturday, and it's on Astraeus, which I was talking about before, the Star Trek colony that they have over on Third Rock.
Right.
And they have this event, which is Rachel Pfeffer, and she's going to be talking about evolution, and it's called Human: The Next Step. So as human evolution speeds up, what comes next for our species? Now, if that's James, that picture there is a picture of James hiding behind the mask. I think we should all be afraid. I'm not saying if it is or if it isn't.
This actually, to be honest, is a fascinating subject. I mean, I'm not into sort of the singularity worship or anything like that, but I mean, I just find that the accelerated evolution and things, the way we and our world are changing, to be fascinating. I think
I'm going to be there. I hope everybody will because it looks like a great event. So I'm sorry to rush through this, people, but I know Karima and Dale have much to say. And if you're listening to the show and you have a special event coming up, please let us know so that we can do some publicity on it on our next show. And that's me done. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, wonderful stuff, and I'm sure you're going to join me in having a load of questions for Dale and Karima. I think just to get this sort of out the way, I think Karima, I'm going to hand to you next because I know you brought some slides, still images that we can show and talk through too, or maybe you and Dale together. So I've shown you how to load the slides and stuff. Shall I hand over to you and maybe just tell us a little bit about yourselves in your own words as we're looking at the pictures?
Sure. Okay, wonderful. Well, actually, I chose some slides of the 14 worlds that I've built 21 worlds on Kitely since 2011 when I first went to Kitely. I went when it was in beta, and I just never left. I stayed and I just kept building and building and building. And anyway, in about five builds later, I was building this world that we talked. Oh no, it's the one before. It's Float. It's way before actually. Is Dale controlling it? It's the first one. So.
Sorry, that was me. And
Oh.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, sorry. Okay. No,
is the
it's
first
going back. No, there it is. That's it. Well, the first, actually, the first world that I collaborated with Dale on, this is the first one, was I had an all water world, okay? And the idea is just to have a little teeny, very perilous boat that when you sit in it, you're like one leg is dangling in the water, and it's at midnight, and all you know is that there's like all these things swimming under the water. They come up and they brush by you, they go down. It's really frightening. It's one of my nightmares. To be honest with you, Float is a nightmare. I was never scared of a lot of normal things, but thinking about being in the middle of the ocean at midnight in a little floppy boat that my legs can't even pull them into the boat, that's scary. So I had met Dale in exactly, 2012 was a big year for me. I met my two biggest collaborators in my lifetime that year. One was Dale, and the other was Natasha Rant. I met them both in 2012, and so I said to Dale, I have this project. Can you help me? So I'll turn it over to you. What did you do for me, Dale, to help me on this project?
Yeah, I think I designed the leaves that one jumped into, that one sat in, and they took you on frightening tours of the area. And back then, I didn't know about, well, there weren't as many different ways to make a boat move. We didn't have keyframed animation yet. We didn't have various other things. So I sort of did my best. And in fact, the hacks that I used had some nice side effects, and that occasionally the boats would slowly sink. And I hadn't designed that in, but it was a nice effect given the sim.
It was frightening, all of a sudden
Exactly,
you're going deeper and deeper, I mean further into this blackness, and these shark fins are swimming all around you and under you and everywhere, and all of a sudden you're sinking very slowly, sinking. It was random. You couldn't control the boats. You can't control the boats. I mean, really, I invite you to come and get into a boat on Float and see what you feel about it.
this is virtual worlds for you. You get so immersed. They can be really scary, and of course you forget that all you need to do is log out or teleport elsewhere.
Exactly. It's really scary. And when you jump down, when you jump into the bottom, I made the bottom so scary. It's just creepy down there. I hate to go down there. I always tell Dale, oh my God, we have to pick up a boat that's on the bottom. I don't like to go down there. I find it very frightening. It's all dark and gray. And anyway, so that's Float. And actually, we had some very good reception from people. This is many years ago that went to it. So I invite you all anytime you want to float at midnight.
Is Avatar Health enabled down there?
Yeah, I think it was, wasn't it? Was it? Oh no, we didn't do that. No, we didn't, because the sharks don't do anything. They look like they're going to do everything. No, there's no damage. There's no damage. Yeah, you can go and just pretend that you could be damaged. No, another thing I forgot to tell you is that, and Mal referred to it in YouTube. There is the soundtrack of my poem "Float" is playing as soon as you get there, and it just talks about the nightmare in detail while you're floating around, with these voices and sounds, and the sounds of sharks crunching on bones. I actually found that sound, and I have them playing, in the background. Anyway, that's Float.
Do you want me to play Float now?
Huh?
Do you want me to play Float?
Play the video.
Oh, well, just a little bit if you want. Just a little. It's kind of longish. I mean, a little bit if you want. Yeah, just to hear the poem. This is what you're going to hear when you first arrive.
Very moody.
Oh yeah, I made this music too. This music is very creepy. I thought like sharks just circling around,
Yeah, she makes the music for a lot of these worlds, and it's always amazed me. She just casually goes into GarageBand or something, and comes out with these things that have these deep emotional effects.
Brilliant.
Okay, I'll post that. Your voice is getting drowned out. So the wonderful thing
Yeah.
I love. I don't know whether what I like more, your poetry or your voice reading the poetry.
Oh,
Well, no, you
Yeah,
do.
she has a lovely
You know,
voice. Yeah.
thank you.
it's yeah, it's just it grabs you. It grabs you. You
Oh,
know.
thank you so much. Thank you. Well,
You
anyway, this is
I
a
just
good place to start because
yeah.
this is the first world that Dale and I collaborated successfully on. And he said, well, if you need me again, let me know. But we weren't yet, a team yet. We were
Uh,
still like, well, if you have a scripting thing, let me know. So then the next one came up. The next world.
Yeah, I'm told
oh,
with the button. There
that's
we
Oh, there
okay.
it
go.
is. And this. Oops, not that
It
one.
went too many
It goes
long.
too
Okay,
fast. Yeah,
Yeah.
there.
we both hit it.
This is when you've all visited. Mal visited. Mal loved this world. So did Thirza. The safari went to Vector's Vortex. This is Vector's Vortex.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
yes, brilliant.
yeah. And really, Dale made this like I was listening to our 2017 broadcast, Mal, where you were talking about. I was saying that Nat wanted to make a movie there because she lost her horizon, and you said, "Oh, that's right. I lost my horizon when I was there too. I didn't know what was up, what was down, because
Mm,
Yeah.
literally you really feel like you're in the deep space and you don't know what's happening. And Dale really had a lot to do with had everything to do with the transportation to get you up there, and it was fabulous. We had so much fun working together on this one. And this
yeah.
one, we really worked together.
That
Yeah,
was the
on
first
this
thing
one.
we did when one of these long tours that takes you between particular spots, which has become sort of a big trademark of these worlds that take you around and show you things and twist you this way and that. And that was a fun one.
Well, we've kind of gotten into the tour thing because a lot of times people do suffer from lag. Not this world, because this world is way up. It's like it's very high, so we've actually had no problem with lag. But the tour affords people, if you could just sit down on something, you can just concentrate to looking and enjoying, and we'll take you all over the place. And then if you want to go on your own, you can. So, but on many of our worlds, not all, but I would say many of them are that kind of thing. Jump on something, sit down.
I
We'll
understand
take
what
you.
you mean. It's true though, Karima, because we have the same experience on the safari many times when um, people arrive on a sim and the owner assumes that they'll just find everything because the owner has made it and
Right,
it's very familiar to them. But you
right.
can feel very lost when you arrive on a region that you have very little information about and there's lag and maybe not everything has rezzed immediately. So that's what I love about you and Dale, what you've done, because you help the person who's trying to enjoy the sim to orientate themselves straight away in what's going on, and they don't have to kind of figure it out too much for themselves so that it's irritating, but you leave enough space for them to find it exciting and they're curious to see exactly what's going to happen. I think it's a brilliant thing, but without scripting, that's pretty much impossible. You'd
Oh
end up
no,
just having to give out millions of note cards and nobody wants to read that.
impossible. That's why Dale is like. That's why all of these worlds would not be here if it weren't for Dale or me.
Yeah.
I mean, both of us needed to
That's
be
right.
here to do it. So it's really from this point on, all of the worlds really took two of us to do. To bring them to public, right? So it's pretty cool. It's pretty neat. Anyway, next one. I'm glad you enjoyed. You guys all know about Vector's Vortex. So what's the next one? I forget. I'm not even sure. These are all in order, by the way, an order of like when we first started to when our last world together.
Shall I push it forward for you?
Yeah, I can. Sorry, I just
Oh,
moving forward.
okay,
There we
no
go.
worries.
Oh, oh, okay. Oh, this is the Hudson line.
I
I
do it
don't
right?
think.
Yeah,
Yeah, perfect. This is a crazy image I chose for it. This
I
is the
love it.
Hudson line. This is well, Dale. Explain, Dale. What about the Hudson line? Why do we choose the Hudson line? What do you know about the
Yeah.
Hudson line? Okay.
The Hudson Line is a commuter rail line along the Hudson River in New York, USA, and I used to write on it
Hmm.
4 or 5 days a week. Then there was a pandemic, so I don't do it quite that often anymore. But that's one of the steps in my journey to work. So we would talk on our cell phones occasionally on the line, and as they gradually put in more cell towers, we were able to be more and more successful doing that. For a while, it was very difficult. And so eventually, I don't remember whose idea. I mean, I'm sure it's probably Karima's idea because she usually has the ideas. To build a virtual world around it, and there is along the Hudson line the High Bridge train. What's it called? I think it's called the High Bridge Train Appearance Facility, and it's a train wash. It's a big, it's a big building through which you can drive a subway train without anybody in it, typically, and it will get washed with brushes and hoses and soap and things. And we decided that one of the things that would happen as you were going through the sim is the train you were on would go through the wash, and you'd get bubbles and things coming down from the sky. And it's a wonderful experience. Something that you can never actually experience in real life.
I actually think I came on this ride. I don't know whether it's something we did on safari or whether I just
Oh, I
came.
think you did. No, you did by yourself, Mal. You did. That's
Yeah.
right. Mal was on the tour, so you know it's a train that you take from Terrytown to the end of the line in the tunnel.
And it travels through this experience, shall we say?
Yes, an experience. It has. Yes, it does. It plays strange movies at every stop. You know, there's like Riverdale and Spite and Dival and 125th Street, and all these have Yankees. They all have their own little experiences that you stop at for a bit. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it. Well, that's it. It's a fun ride. We get a lot of people. I guess people are drawn to the name. People probably that live in New York and have taken the Hudson Line. Go, oh, let's see what this Hudson Line. But it's total fantasy. You know.
I'm
It's
hoping there's a lot of people who actually ride the Hudson Line that get to experience this sort of surreal version of it.
Yeah,
I like
because it's in the correct order. Dale helped me. You know, we helped each other. Well, he helped me build the world, so it's accurate to a certain extent. And when it turns right to go over the Harlem River, we have it doing that. You know, when it goes down into the tunnel. But then we have like a giant ant right at the outside of the tunnel and things like that that you don't really experience in New York. You know.
Well,
Are you sure about that?
I'm not sure really.
down in the polluted sewers, you know.
Yeah, there could be monstrous ants now coming out of the tunnel. True. Anyway, so it's really a fun world, and as I said, we get visitors, you know, weekly because probably because of the name, people relate to it. They're New Yorkers probably or have been, you know. Anyway, so that's the Hudson Line.
Need another click, I think. That logo's
Oh,
in the.
there.
I like that. Well, just in the middle
Oh,
somewhere.
this one's crazy. Yeah. Thanks to Rag Grant from Second Life. I said, Rag, I need a sim-wide head. Can you make one for me in mesh? And he said, a sim-wide head coming right up. You know, he said, sure, I'll make that for you. So
Yeah, the
This is-
important thing about this picture is this is the entire sim.
it
What
is
you're
a whole
looking at.
sim. Yeah, it really is a sim-wide head. That's the whole sim. That's right. And it's called In Your Head. And it's crazy. It's a ride. It's another ride. It's so much fun. I mean, I think it's fun. It's divided up between the right brain and the left brain. I took the right brain. Dale took the left brain, you know, and we just built our own little crazy things all the way up to the top, you know, and little examples of right brain, left brain thinking, you know. So you're
Yeah.
sitting on a book and the book just goes back and forth between the two brains. It's really a lot of fun. We get quite a few visitors on this one too. In Your Head. Yeah. So something to think about. Yeah. Oh, and this is oh yes. Well, Mal's been here too. I remember Mal, right?
Yes,
This has
we've
been
done
your
a
first-
safari here
Yeah,
too.
I
that's
was
right.
just-
You've all been there. That's right.
Am I right in was this part of the OCC safari a couple of
Oh,
years?
I think it was.
Yes, I think it was.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was. That's right. That's right. Well, this is All My Boats. It comes from a poem, as many of my worlds do, not all of them, but this one is definitely based on a poem called All My Boats. And it's just about that. The fun thing about this is the clever little trick we had to do to make this work. There's a line, actually, if I can see if I can remember it. There's a line that says, oh yeah, I have it here actually. The line says in the poem, against the ropes, they were like, you know, they were tugged the whole night long against the ropes. It was not noticed by anyone when the lines began to serpentine, uncoiling from those knotted fists, flat and free, they slipped through rings in a graceful snake ballet. See, the ropes were like untying themselves and letting the boats free. Okay, so how do you do that? You know? How do you make that happen? You know, we tried flexi ropes, we tried everything, and then all of a sudden, of course, what you do is Dale, tell them what we did. What do we do?
Of course. Yeah, so naturally, what we do is we just res invisible NPCs in the back of each of the in the back. Well, it's actually not. Yeah, invisible NPCs in the back of each boat with a nice flexible sort of pool. Sort of think of it as a pool. What do they call those things? A pool cylinder attached to them, and the NPCs then dance, and that makes the rope-looking things twist and curl in a very dance-like way. I would
Well,
never
actually,
have-
all the NPCs were dancing. They were dancing in 100% transparent, wearing a rope.
right
Is what they were
exactly.
doing, like a pool,
That's
like a pool
brilliant.
noodle, like a
So
pool noodle.
if you want to make, and this was before Animesh. This was this was Karima inventing Animesh by saying, well, you could just get an NPC, make it invisible, and then attach the thing that you want to move to it at various points, and then have.
This
have
must
the,
be like 2016 or something, right?
It was
16,
yeah,
17?
it was, yeah, it was like 16, I think. This is 16, I think. I have to look it up, but yeah, I think so.
How long ago?
So yeah, so it was 2016. Yep. Anyway, so yeah, so we had to be very inventive still. OpenSim was still, you had to be very creative and inventive to get things that, you dream about, actually into reality. So it's a fun ride. You've been there, we still get people that come here too. It's fun, you listen to the poem, you sit in the boat, the poem plays, and you go out with all the boats, all my boats. Yeah. So that one.
It's a great sim too.
Right.
And the colors are amazing. Just the
Yeah, the colors are crazy. Very primary colors.
The picture is wild, the colour and stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy. Oh, I put a painting under the water, so when you actually go out on the boat, you see all these paint colors, like making watery paint, reflections, and it's beautiful. It really is. Yeah, yeah.
Have you tried putting projector colours underwater?
You mean like media colors?
Well, no, yeah. Just putting
I have done that.
surface,
Yeah, I have done that.
underwater, and then putting a projected color on it that comes up through the water.
Yeah, that's actually kind of what this is, really. It does look like that. Yeah, it does. That's right. Yeah. Anyway, so then after that, oh yeah, this is one of my favorites. This is Unmindful. Did anybody ever go? Did you go, Thirza or Mal? Have you been to
through there a
Unmindful?
while back. Yes, we haven't done a safari there, but I've been.
It's nice to
through
go.
it.
You can do the safari here. It's not a tour, but it's nice. It's not laggy. It's good. I would think it would hold a safari very well. It's a world about. Well, we didn't know what it was about, right, Dale? That's how it
That's right.
started.
That's exactly why it's called that. We said let's start building without anything in mind. Not
Yeah,
purely,
totally unmindful of
block.
any. Exactly. That's how we started it. And then at the end, we came to the conclusion it doesn't make any difference. You don't have to know what you're doing. You just have to start. That was what the conclusion we came after this, because
That's right.
we wound up building a very deep metaphor for human life on this, represented by this ball that is born up on the top of a mountaintop, and it rolls all over the place and all through volcanoes and the beginning of man and everything, and then it comes into these buildings and goes upstairs, and it's basically the message is the smoother you roll, the farther you go. And so this ball, there's a poem that goes along with it, of course, and it's a movie. Nat made a fabulous, she filmed it really, really well. She did. So so it's Unmindful. It's a movie, and it's also a sim that a world that you can visit. So hope you will. Yeah.
Great.
Okay.
Oh, I just wanted to say something. That's okay, Dale. Just go back for a second and tell them about the actual moving ball. Yeah. how
Oh,
you did
right.
that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So
clever.
the technology behind the ball, you can't. The only way to have a ball really roll in the technical sense is to make it physical and then hope it doesn't go flying off in all directions, which it will because the physics engine is only very rough. So what this does, these balls actually follow completely strict paths, but they are. Forget actually if the ball itself is rolling at the same time or if it's just the texture. But it looks like it's just the texture. So the ball simply moves along as a stationary sphere, but the texture on it rolls at roughly the same rate that it would be if the ball were in fact having friction with the
it's
floor
perfect.
and rolling on. And so it looks just like it's doing a thing, but a thing which we can't actually quite do in OpenSim because the physics engine just isn't up to it. But but it looks very nice that way.
Very clever.
Yeah, very clever. That's his middle name. That's Dale's middle name. Sometimes I drive him crazy. I say, Dale, can we change a horse into a boat? And he goes, let me think about that. We did that on the Wizard, remember? I said, "What do
Yeah.
you think about that?" And then about 2 days later, it says, "Yep, we can do it. Yeah, we can do it. I know how
And
we'll
pretty
do it."
commonly, she'll say, "Can we do this thing?" And I'll say, "No, there's not really any way to do that." And she said,
Hey,
"Well, but I'd like it to look like this." And this is, "Oh, well, that we could probably do." It'll look like.
Because that's what it's about. It's like a theatrical. It's a theatrical experience to go to your
that's right.
bills. I mean, obviously some things are not absolutely, but you bring it out just like you were watching a huge spectacle on the stage. It's fabulous.
Some things are done with mirrors. Yes, we admit
That's
that.
right. Many mirrors. But
Many
the thing
mirrors.
with the horse and the boat, I think the original idea was, well, can the horse detach from the user and then have the boat attached to them, but force them to sit on a boat? And it's like, well, that's really hard. Experiences might do it, but experiences have a lousy user interface and all that. Oh well, what if the horse just sort of became a boat in some fog? And that turned out actually to be a much more interesting effect than the initial thing we were thinking about. So that
Yeah,
worked out really
smooth.
well. Yeah.
You all saw that.
there's a 1-minute film I got here called The Wizard. Is that the one you're mentioning?
Oh, it could be.
Probably,
Yeah,
yeah.
let's take a 1-minute pause. And
Sure,
check
put
it
it
out.
on. Sure, love it. That might be Nat's teaser, I think, that she did. It's Nat's last thing she did with me. It's a teaser. Yep. It's the wizard there, and then you're riding by in a horse, and wonderful. Oh, and this world was done with, I forgot to give the credit to all of the wonderful particles that you see on this world. This world was made possible because we had a wonderful collaboration with. I'm forgetting his last name, Mumfuzz. His first name I'm forgetting. Who is it?
Kirk
Mumfuzz. Kirk Mumfuzz. Fabulous. Yeah, sorry. Oh yeah, all of that happens on the Wizard, right?
That's a great trip. I love that one.
Well, it's a great trick because really the great trick actually, once again, Dale had the idea, which was just to put the whole thing up like how many meters is it high in the
Oh,
sky?
right. Yeah, we're maybe like 100 meters maybe above the usual. So the usual water level is like 22 meters, and we're
Yeah.
like 100 meters above that, or some large number of meters above that, and which means that we can have abysses and we can have crevices going down into the water. Oh, how come oh, I don't know why we're not on the Wizard here. Okay, but I guess we're not for the Wizard on the slides.
No, not the Wizard. It's okay. Just
Right.
we're doing
Yeah.
the river. Yeah, River Forgetting. Oh, that was
Right.
a good one.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so the Wizard was done again. That's sort of a trick in that you just raised all the land up quite high, and which means that you can go down deep before you hit water.
Yeah, it's really very impressive when you're doing that. And people have said to me, "Whoa, how do you get down? How do you fall down a cliff that's like 120 meters?
Oh, yeah.
120. Yeah, it was like you fall forever, and you go down a waterfall forever, ever, down.
I remember in the early days of Second Life, I was given a thing to, the idea was you gave this gift to griefers. And at the moment they accepted it and wore it, I forget what it was. It was some kind of thing that they couldn't resist wearing. It immediately took them into orbit.
Oh, right.
And then they
Yeah, orbiters
slowly,
used to be
they
the big thing.
slowly fell to Earth.
Yeah.
If they weren't, the shock factor was such that it wouldn't occur to them to teleport away.
Right.
They would panic for 5 hours or however long to float down to it.
Some of those early
They weren't griefers for too long, yeah.
some of those early griefing devices would actually prevent you from teleporting by using up so much CPU power in the local server that your teleport would invariably fail. Some of them they fixed that eventually, so they can't do that anymore. But yeah, some of the early griefing tools were pretty. You had to basically log off for some of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Do we have time really? There's like a lot of worlds still. Do you want to just talk about a few maybe that you'd like to
Well, I'll
remember?
tell you what, let's pause the slideshow.
Okay.
Come back to this at the end. Let's I think what I'll do is I'm going to play a video which is AI Dreams in Goth, right? Adaptive.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
That's 4 minutes, and then we're going to talk more about this particular AI Dreams area because that's the region I was filming in the week, but silently that we can talk over, including the wonderful psychedelic bits at the end.
Wonderful, wonderful.
But I'll play your film first, and we'll shut up a bit and listen to it, and then we'll go into conversation. Well, if you want to comment while it's playing, fair enough. But
Sure, because there's no voice on it. It's just music, so I don't think it's a problem. We
All
can. We were asked to make a mini installation of our goth section of AI Dreams and Art. So that's what you're going to see here. That was playing on Mike McHugh's sim, for Halloween.
lovely music.
Yeah, it's in this is beautiful. The wonderful thing, I do want to say something about this while you were watching, is that the Animesh figures were inspired by Dale's art, and Kim Starr made them and gave them to us, and so they both appear, the male and the female, both appear in this room, that were inspired by the pictures you see there. Yeah, beautiful.
And that was amazing
Fantastic.
how quickly she was able to go from liking a couple of pictures that I had created with Midjourney to making them into people or NPCs or whatever they are, animations, I guess.
Animesh.
That we can have there just with those same faces right there in the build.
Yeah.
It was incredible. Yeah.
But all the images are from Dale's Midjourney Gothic section of his art, and on the walls too. They all play. Yeah, it's an effect,
That's the fantastic thing about OpenSim, isn't it? That we could all be just on our own little grids, unconnected, and making stuff and enjoying ourselves. Sure, it's fun, but the wonderful thing is that we have hypergridding and we can meet other people and share. There's cross-pollination of ideas, but also collaborations that can form just maybe for one project or two projects, but it sort of augments the creativity by like 1,000% when you get to working with other people and people you admire, or maybe somebody you didn't know before that comes along and they sort of contribute something and you contribute back. I love that about OpenSim, about all the different grids, but all the opportunities to sort of mix and make things together. It's a lovely feeling because you feel like you're really part of a community.
Oh, so true. I 100% agree with you. That this was a collaboration with Mike McHugh's sim, and he had many, many people that built their little, like they call them shops, or ours was not really a shop, but it was a it was installation. And we're not selling anything, but anyway, it was wonderful. It was just so much fun, and like you say, people that maybe you didn't know before, you meet through these little mini collaborations. It's wonderful. Yeah.
And that's always been such an interesting part of all the virtual worlds, is that you just run into somebody and you discover you have some complementary skills, and you end up either staying up until 2 o'clock in the morning, or just producing something together, or they just appear the next day saying, "Hey, look, I made this from what you did." Oh, wow, really?
That's right. I think Dale is right. And then because there are so many different skills, some people are really good at making clothes. Some people can find anything you want. They're good at scavenging and finding stuff, interesting items that you can use. Some people are good at textures, some people sound, some people animation. And that's really the great thing, that all these things can come together. And some people are good at a lot of things. So like Karima with her music and her poetry and her artistic skills, bringing that together. But it's fantastic because, as Dale says, sometimes it's just serendipity that you meet the right person, and then a great collaboration is born.
Oh, for sure.
Yep. And one of my things, a thing that sort of makes things, is called ThingMaker, and it makes abstract things based on random generated a lot of rules and stuff. And one of the things it made, somebody who makes like clothing and hair and things, I really liked the thing that it made. And said, "Oh, can I take that and make it into a headpiece and sell it in with my hair collection?" I said, "Absolutely, that's what it's all about." And that was a lot of fun. I never intended the things it made to be used as hair. Ooh, we're in the hippies.
Yeah, this is Mal's movie, right, Mal?
Yes, yeah, it's completely silent. Or well, actually, the first half is, then it's sort of almost on repeat with the actual song, which I love, that is playing on the land. You know, because it sums up the era perfectly. You know, I thought, oh, I didn't work out who it was, but the song.
Ah, it's the Youngbloods. It's the Youngbloods.
Youngbloods, right? Okay.
Right.
It was so familiar and
Yep.
but so long ago.
Mhm.
You know, but yeah, well, we'll hear that after we've looked at it. You know, we got about it's about 6 minutes, so I think the bit with the song is about 3. But there we are standing there. Yeah, but all this sort of detail. I mean, obviously, the next clip coming up features all the rest of the region, in fact, which is the galleries and everything. But yeah, just the little touches, you know, that
Oh, there you are.
I presume you remember this era in some way, do you?
Yeah.
You know, you know, you got your peace signs and, you know, flowers, the Volkswagen, and the Volkswagen.
The iconic symbols of the era. Right.
Exactly. And yeah, I wasn't sure about that car. I mean, that felt more like the 50s.
Yeah, yeah. Well, some people in the 60s couldn't afford anything from the 60s.
Exactly.
The 50s or the 40s.
Yeah, drove around in the open top 50s. Yeah. But just there's just so much detail here. You can't really get it all on the film, but I try, you know,
Yeah.
see a few bits and try and zoom in a little
Oh,
bit.
thank you.
A little duck there. I'm not quite. There's a fish on there, I think.
Yeah, eating fish. Yeah, there's fires. There's the clothes. Yeah, that's right. Did you? Yeah, there they are. The clothes hanging are the movies. Yes.
Yeah, but I thought that was great because these are yours, aren't they, Dale? The Mid Journey or something.
Yep,
Yeah,
yeah.
they're on the
These
everything.
all these.
But the way the way they fade into each other. Rather
Oh,
than
that's my movie. It's a movie I made
Yeah,
of his
that's-
images. Right.
great.
oh, I
She's-
see. So
she's
the
good at
movie,
stuff.
right? So Dissolve is part of a movie playing on there.
Yep, the images
Yeah,
are
right.
fading into each other in beautiful ways.
Yeah, strange visitor there.
Oh, yeah, you'll see that visitor everywhere. There's a pair of them. There's 3 of
Yeah.
them actually that are visiting these rabbits. They
Yeah,
go
that's
everywhere.
hysterical.
Yeah,
I did
I
not make
love them.
those.
No, we didn't make them. We found them, and they weren't copies, so I had to go back 100 times and get another one and another one and another one. They're so cute. They're visiting very intently, you know, looking at everything and watching and things. Yeah, they're great.
Yeah, well, we can probably tell I've probably spent far too much on this bit. Oh, this I love. I didn't see this immediately because the projectile, the particles,
All right, aren't those fun? Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
coming out of the ground,
Yeah,
but they're not exploding until they get up in the tree.
and
And
the
of course,
tree level. That's beautiful. I
yeah,
never
unless you pan out and start looking up, you can't see they're there. You know, so it's
Yeah.
nice when, oh, here we
Oh
are.
my God.
Yeah, they're very cool.
This is the song. It's wonderful.
Oh. Oh, it is wonderful. That was
Hey,
the
I
theme
made
song.
that.
That's yours. You made that.
How about that? How did that get there?
That is so weird.
Oh, who is
I made
this?
that like in 2009.
Yay!
It's good to know some things never die.
Never.
Love it.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah.
There's the song just fits the environment, you know.
Yeah, and the times, really.
That's what I mean, the whole that it's just a little space there too, but it just takes you right back. It's got everything.
Yeah, it's a little space. It's true.
That little square's got everything you need to.
I'm so glad you got hung up there. That's what we love.
That's fun.
Yeah, kudos to Mal. He really made a fantastic job of catching all the detail. I had a great time going through the build, but I went, I think, 3 times to take a look and cam around and take a look at everything. But you always miss something. I think if I went there 10 times, I still wouldn't see everything. It's fantastically detailed, and congratulations to you both. It's a great build.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. I would urge anybody who can. There are some sort of figuring out what the heck's going on barriers in the way, but this AI art stuff is, in my opinion, a really great democratization of art. Even people with no visual skills, they can get in there and make all sorts of weird stuff. So, if these images, not the media and the experience and the beautiful fading into each other video, but the images themselves, you can get in there and make things just like them, because I have no particular skills. So.
Yeah, it's been wonderful.
I think they're brilliant, Dale. I think they're great, and obviously it's been a great jumping off point for Karima to take and expand on. So congratulations,
sure.
really.
Yeah, thank you. I never curated anybody's art before, and I felt this great responsibility, but I loved it so much. I wanted to show the world,
Yeah.
How long did it take you guys to do this?
Oh dear, we haven't figured that out. But.
I had COVID. I was sick with COVID, honestly. I worked like 20 hours a day because I was just sick. I didn't care. I would say that 2 months, maybe. Yeah, about 2 months. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I did the whole goth section with COVID, with this really crazy fever. And
really quickly, too.
Yeah, I did.
I hope you disinfected it when you finished, right?
Yes.
You did disinfect everything, right?
I did. Oh, yeah, don't worry. It's not a molecule of COVID on that world anymore.
That's right. It's carefully sanitized afterwards.
Yeah, I'm going to go straight into the next bit. Actually, this is it's in 2 halves. This is a longer thing. This is where we go all through the sim and see the galleries. So I might as well just jump in now.
Yeah, please.
A lot to talk about here.
I really like that. I really like that photo that's in the center now. The kids in the gallery. I
love it. I love it. I do too. I wrote a little poem about that. Actually, it's not a poem. It's just what every child is thinking as they're standing there. There's like 4 children, and each one has a very different way of looking at imagine what they're trying to imagine what they're seeing. So that's kind of really crazy. Yeah.
I must say, from the point of view of filming this, I'm no great filmer, but I just rush around trying to get everything in. The fact that all your galleries didn't have any roofs on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a filmer too. I'm also a filmer.
No roof. This is great.
Yeah. It's much easier to come in from the top and film anything. I agree with you. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you, Luna Lunaria, it's her building, the main building. It's just wonderful. That has, the Art Deco and the Nouveau and the cyberpunk and everything, the alien art. That's her building. And when she came to see it, she said, "Oh, you took the roof off." And I said, "Well, actually, I just made it invisible." She said, "Good touch. I love it much better without the roof," she said. So I said, "Oh, thank goodness." Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy and wonderful.
Galleries had a different flavour, don't they? I know it's all mostly Mid-Journey stuff, and then some of them, I have to say, you look and you think, well, did that belong in the steampunk or did it belong in the surrealism?
Yeah, that's right.
Well, this is eclectic. This is totally eclectic. This is called ever changing. I think anything can be in here. Anything in this gallery.
That's right. Essentially, with the
Constantly
ants is sort
changing
of right, sort of
every day.
new
I'm changing
arrivals.
it. Yes.
Because Dale, so
There we are,
explain.
yeah.
So when you decided to do this installation, had you already made all these images, or did you make them during the 2 months that the build was being constructed? So did you try to fit in with certain ideas, or
Some of
were
each.
all the pictures existing?
I had made a bunch, and Karima said, "Well, I put them into some categories." And I said, "Oh, okay, I'll try that." And so I put some into some categories, and some categories had only a few, and some had a whole lot. And so in some categories that I felt like this is actually a category I like working in, and I haven't done very many for some reason, there I made some more. Others we already had a ridiculous number, and it was more a matter of choosing which ones to take. And then there's a whole section like the piratas section. I just whimsically made a whole bunch of female pirates, which after the main most of the sim was done, and Karima really liked them, and then I discovered that she had put up a new section
Just
of all the
love.
female
I love
pirates.
female pirates. I mean, you had to make a
Yeah,
new section. We thought we were done, but we
exactly.
weren't. Yeah.
I
Tell
see.
everybody how many images you've made. Hang on to your hats, everyone.
Oh yeah, in Midjourney, I think I've made now about a little over 15,000.
Good grief!
You
Yeah,
know,
no, I mean,
That's a
Wow.
lot.
you have to think of that. You have to think of that as including sort of every rough draft or every thing that you do on the way to making a final thing. But yeah, I have recorded something like 15,000. I mean, I can ask the bot what its current opinion is. But yeah, and then I've also made some in some of the other tools in DALL-E 2 and in Night Cafe and so on.
Night
But
Cafe.
Midjourney is really yeah. Night Cafe is nice. It's sort of easy to access. Their pricing model is really good, but somehow their AI engines aren't as good as Midjourney's. I don't know what it is. Midjourney has some really good people behind their stuff. The
Game
Midjourney bot
changer.
today.
I mean, it's unfortunate that actually a lot of, well, I mean, it's unfortunate because I agree in a way that it's getting a lot of flack from artists who think, oh, the machine's going to put us out of business,
Yeah.
And some of the stuff you can come up with in it is wonderful. I mean, I know Maria Koloff, I think, at the OSCC is going to be doing a panel with artists, and I think, from what I can gather, she's just going to be talking about Midjourney,
Ah,
which is
Yeah, I
not
think
really open
that
thing,
was.
but it's like anything else, I suppose. It's the way you actually employ it. I mean, seeing these Midjourney images in a gallery setting sort of gives them a context, even though they don't take 3 weeks to paint like an oil painting.
Right. Yeah, I mean the
They,
main. I mean, for me, it's mostly. I mean, a lot of artists complained when photography started to become considered a real art form. They would say, no, photography is just so that
ah,
you
yeah.
can take a picture
Well,
and
let's
then
be honest.
bring it
Most
back to the
artists
studio and draw a picture.
complain. It doesn't really, they just complain. You could just
But
stop there, really.
in this case, it's like I mean, I can see the argument though that these engines were in fact trained by taking lots of art and shoving it into a neural network and building the weights. So to some extent, it would be nice if there was some way that some of the profits, if any, from these engines flowed back to the artists whose work the thing sort of studied. I mean, it doesn't happen in real life. Like when Jackson Pollock got famous for his paint splashing and made money, there was actually somebody who did paint splashing art before him that he was inspired by, and then that person didn't get any of the money that he made from his paint splashing art. But it's sort of a thing. I personally would just like to see everybody be happy somehow.
I personally think it's wonderful when somebody who's basically was a scripter can all of a sudden be an artist and feel the joys of creating art and having other people love his art and take it home and hang it on their walls. This is amazing. It's wonderful.
It's very
So-
exciting.
This is my
in an
favorite
old-
piece at the end here. I love this area.
Oh yeah, you wrote about it, didn't you? Right. Yeah, it's a fun area. It is.
When you upload
Oh,
pictures,
yes.
do,
I finally discovered there's a body down there.
Oh yeah, she's supposed to be a
horrifying.
dancer, but I didn't like her dancing, so I just Kim gave her to me. I said, "Where am I going to put this dancer?" And I thought I'm going to put her on the table. That's what I'm going to do. She looks like
What
she's
did
being,
you say, James, about
hypnotized.
uploading?
well, I was
James, what
just
did
going
you say about uploading?
when you're uploading pictures in World, do you have a resolution that works best for picture size?
Well, I mean, so upload as I recall, I don't actually remember, but there's some maximum resolution of a texture. I think it used to be
Yeah.
1024 by 1024.
2000. Yeah.
Maybe it's
Right.
bigger now, 2048 or something. But yeah, normally when I generate an image, it's larger, it's higher res than can be uploaded. So
And I
when
brought
I'm
it down.
uploading-
I had to. Yeah. on
Yeah,
Dale's
when you
model.
upload them, they get downsampled. And so yeah, the main thing that you worry about is that if I have too many textures that are too large, it'll cause lots of people viewer lag as they download all these
Yeah.
textures. But
Yeah.
we haven't really heard that that's a big problem,
No,
so
I
I'm
didn't
hoping
have
it's
No,
any
they
not.
look
lag.
great.
I mean, I
Right.
don't
No.
know about if several people arrive all together, maybe that, but I had
Could.
zero
Yeah.
lag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So I
not laggy
suspect,
though for a few people. We've had 5 or 6 people on together, and it's been good, so I
yeah,
think, yeah.
I suspect
But
that most of the images are probably maximum resolution. I don't actually know for sure. It's always unclear to me exactly what the heck happens when things get
Right.
uploaded.
Right.
But I think
well,
most
in
of
order
them are
for me
pretty
to
high
get them, for Firestorm to accept them, I had to take them down to like
resolution.
2,000, nothing
Mm,
bigger than
Mm.
2,000, and then
okay.
that was it.
Yeah.
And
They
then
look
they
so
came
good.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do look good. Yeah, they do look good. When we did, I don't know, we've done this, I don't know if you're going to talk about it, if you've seen it, Mal, but we're doing this series. It's kind of like a storybook series. It's not really an animated animation. It's not machinima. It's just Dale's storybooks, like, it's called Clara 1 and Clara 2, Part
Oh
2.
yeah.
We're working on Part 3 now. The story continues. And I love doing this. This is really a wonderful project. And Dale, it's really because of Dale making these images and also putting them into GIMP and making the captions. He wrote the story, so
Yeah, I was
I'll,
looking. I was looking at those. I mean, they are video. Actually, I can't see them here. Maybe I missed them. Oh, there's so many here. Yeah, they got that odd. They're sort of square shaped, aren't they?
yeah, they
That's
are. They're
right
square like
there.
a book. They're square shaped like a small book, like a square book. And actually, we've gotten between the two of them almost 1,000 views, like 9,000 views between the
Yeah,
two, because people seem to enjoy them. They like
yeah.
them. They're
But
soothing,
they're also
relaxing.
the sort of thing that might actually show rather well on a kind of prim. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're in the Inworld, I know Nara Malone is working at, well, she's going to be doing something at the OCC on it. But, she's got some of them picture books, some of them are virtual worlds, some of the games, but they're all based on the web, but
Uh-huh.
these days,
Okay.
there are these web worlds, but she creates you walk into these things from a prim, so it's sort of seamless.
Mhm.
Interesting.
The prim is a big prim, it's big screen size, and it's on the ground. So as you walk up to it, it launches the media on the prim effectively. But the media on the prim is not necessarily video. It's in the case of WebXR, it can be another interactive room. So it's like you're walking into a room, even though the room itself is on the web. So
Interesting.
Oh, very interesting.
merging the
Mm.
two kind of
Yeah.
mediums, as it were. And when I saw, and some of her things are actually flip books, and when I saw those videos, Clara, isn't it? It reminded me of that sort of thing, where it's not quite video; it's more of it feels more like it could be a flip book or a storybook.
Yeah, it's a flip book. It is, exactly. It's a storybook, but done on YouTube. So, like Dale said, if he would have
That's right.
left it, it was a very gigantic, how
PDF
big
file.
was it? PDF
It was like
file.
327 megabyte PDF file.
Yeah, what are you going to do with it? And so we just, took it down, the images down a little bit. They're all like 2 megabytes each image. I took them
Right.
down a little bit to put them into video, into the YouTube, and just in my movie program, iMovie, and just made it with music and with narration over the words are already there, of course, and that's what it is. But it's fun, We're still working on it. Yeah.
Yeah, how many chapters is it all is it going to be? Do you think?
I
It's
have no idea. I thought it was only going to be 2.
Whatever will be. You mean?
Exactly.
Actually, I
Exactly.
kind of thought it was done at the end of 1, and then people said that they wanted to know what was actually going on. I said, "Oh, okay," and then I wrote Part 2, and now people still want to know what's going on. So
Yeah, people are saying, I hope you didn't end it here. We want to know more,
Well, you've got the pirates now, and as well as the pirate paintings, you've actually got ships.
Yeah, ships, pirates, and pirate dancing. You can dance like a pirate, too, if you find that area. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep.
I didn't try the dances, but too busy filming to. You can't do
Oh,
everything.
yeah. There's a lot going on here.
It's a steampunk bit, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I love
Yeah,
steampunk.
steampunk. Yeah.
The first place I went was surrealism because that's my thing. But then
Interesting. Interesting.
it's funny, and I found steampunk halfway through, and of course I ended up in that
Psychedelia.
I'm actually showing you the second film last. The first.
I
I
there's
paused
some
everything
steampunks.
and then started reshooting just in psychedelia.
And these are fabulous. I love these portraits of the steampunk portraits. They're just beautiful.
I'm being all nostalgic for these
When
now.
you issue command for those portraits, are they actually? Do you tell it to model it on real people, photo reference, or is it just?
No. I don't. I haven't really worked with photo references much because in a way, it sort of feels like cheating in a way. Although it's just what I mean by that is that it's not the part of the function that I'm interested in.
Right.
It's all purely based on textual prompts. So I would say, logo for a starship company or. Some of the ones up there on the platform, I actually said Starship in the style of Mobius. Usually I don't use actual artist names because that feels kind of derivative to me. So for the steampunk ones, I would just say something like, complicated steampunk devices in a street scene or something like that, and then keep playing with the prompt until I got something I really liked. Kind of thing. There's also various switches in Midjourney to set the amount of chaos and the amount of stylization and several other things. It's not clear to anyone exactly what those numbers all mean, but one of the things you get better at gradually is what the various switches mean and what words and prompts work the best and so on. Right. It's very interesting because it's not just...
So it actually knows all the styles. You mentioned Mobius, Jean Giraud, I mean, presumably.
Yeah.
It knows enough about him to mimic that style.
Yeah, in the sense that it's absorbed. The neural net absorbed a lot of images by that person with that person's name associated with them, and so when it gets a prompt that has that person's name associated with them, that tends to activate some of those style elements in the neural net, and so what comes out tends to be along those lines. Some people, they'll just list 5 or 6 of their favorite authors in all their prompts, and that gets them sort of a mashup of the different styles and things. I tend not to do that. I'm not sure why exactly, but I tend to say so. The Yenny Kavan, I have this sort of style set that I call named a city, a science fiction city, Yenny Kavan, and Yenny Kavan is based on 4 or so prompt words. So it's you combine detailed, steampunk, cyberpunk, noir, and a few other things. And when you combine all those slightly contradictory prompts together, you get this particular style that I like a lot.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I must do a bit of trying it out. I did play with Night Cafe a couple of times, but then I thought it was cheating. But when you mention Mobius and things, and then I look at some of these portraits, they're almost like a mix of oil paint styles or mix of other styles.
Yeah.
Mobius, of course, is line, very detailed line. I can't quite imagine. I'm very fond of it. I did the first ever interview with him, believe it or not.
Oh, wow. That's very cool.
Back in the 70s. It's gone now.
Wow.
I found it the other day, which is why I remembered it. His the detail that I just can't imagine any AI. Because when you talk to him, get into his mind and what he's doing, I can't imagine any AI being able to replicate that person. Or not. Yeah. It's not just the visual style; it's the detail and the mindset behind it.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I think one before I really decided I didn't like using other names. I used Mobius a few times, and I said something like "Big Sale at the Mall" by Mobius, and of course that's not the kind of thing they would usually draw. But it gave one of the pictures it gave was this great thing where there's a sort of in the middle distance there's a building that has sort of obvious sale things and stuff in the windows, and there's this big expanse of emptiness, and then there's one person standing closer to the camera looking at the middle distance with it. And it was his style, not just in terms of where the lines go, but the semantics of it almost were his style. That was interesting. That was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated seeing our world in daylight because it's always at night for us. I never put daylight on it. It holds up, though. It's not too bad. It's more mysterious at night, but it looks okay.
Yeah, but it's difficult to film at night. That's a problem, and it makes it.
Yeah.
It makes it. It's always a dilemma to know how to film or photograph somebody else's film.
That's true. That's
because they
true.
choose a dark setting, and it's like great, but the picture looks like nothing.
Yeah,
It's
that's
when
true.
you're in
It depends what
films.
it is. I mean, this,
Yeah, it
all the
does too.
light and the glow, it looks better. You can just imagine being in that psychedelic bit in nights on the beach in a club or something.
Right, right.
Right, but
Yeah,
admittedly, some of those, I think you just have to choose, and you can choose all sorts of settings, of course, like
exactly.
sets and things like that. When you're making your own,
It's
you you
holding
can
up in
choose what you
daytime
want.
too.
We had somebody on the program last week, and he asked me why I filmed the beach scene with his house at night time. And he had a good point because it looked better in the day. But what had happened is he had four regions up in the sky that he insisted on being at night. And of course, gradually I fell down and got to ground level. I completely forgot I was filming. I just carried on filming, at night time. So
Uh,
you adapt really. Okay, oddly enough, you can see that this film ended just where I entered the second film, which was the psychedelic bit. So
right, perfect.
so as footage, they should be the other way around, but I had to go psychedelic first, didn't I? Yeah. So do you want to show us a few more of your slides while we continue talking? Then we'll have a look at the
Okay,
other bit.
well, just quickly about this one. This is a very special world for us. We built this world. It's called River of Forgetting. We built it just because Natasha said she absolutely would not work with green screens. And so we had decided to enter the UWA this year, and it was we had to take a piece of art that we found at the UWA and use the art to make a movie. Okay, so Nat wasn't even interested at first. I said, "Let me go see what there is. I'll go." So then I found this boat, the ship. It's called the Funerary Ship by Silas Merlin. I love Silas Merlin's things in Second Life, and so the wonderful thing about it was Mal and Thirza, he said, sure, take it to OpenSim. It's fine. He gave us the boat. And so if he wouldn't have done that, there's no way. So we built a world. We didn't have to green screen anything. The boat actually sails all over the place. So we filmed one of our very best films. I think we used very innovative things that we did in this movie too, and we won third place. So we're very happy about
Very
that,
good. And
actually.
we've done a safari there, if you
You
remember.
did a safari
Yeah.
right after the
Yeah.
movie. That's right.
That
That's
was
right.
It was a
Yeah.
fantastic
Cool. There you go.
experience. Yeah.
Yeah, you can ride
That
the
was
boat.
great.
There's like 6 or 8 people can sit on the boat at the same time, I think, and ride
I
it,
think it's one of the larger vehicles we've made.
Yeah, true. This is Dale again, This is Dale making this wonderful tour, where the bridges go up when the boat
Yeah.
approaches, and yeah, it's
And
wonderful.
we had this thing where the artists here wanted people to throw things into the river and have them dissolve. And it was like,
Right.
well, you can't do that, but we could make it look like you are with a whole lot of
Right.
work. So we
Even
did
just
that.
throwing it. Yeah, just even throwing it so that you can see
That's
it
right.
leave the hand and then it falls into the water or something. We actually used a cannon to arch things. At the same time it became invisible in the hand, the cannon lobbed it into the water. And then we had a script that made it invisible. It disappeared while it was floating on the water. Fabulous. So much
Yeah,
fun.
that's
Lots of
brilliant.
innovative things. Yeah, we really had fun with this one. It was a great experience. Yeah.
Scripting opportunities really change.
Really, and a wonderful world to visit still. It really is. Like Kirsa said, it was a great safari and people really loved it. So that's River of Forgetting. Yeah.
What's the next one? Shall I top it for you?
Oh, this is a wonderful one too. I love this world. It gets very few visitors, but the people that do go, I don't know, maybe they start turned off by the name. It's this called Between the Night and Nowhere. I mean, I think it's a wonderful name. This literally comes from a dream that Natasha had when in 2018 she was very sick and she had a very high fever, and she had this dream where her father came to her, and her father had died, years before. Anyway, he came back to her and he told her some things, and he said, "I'll meet you again," and she said, "Where, Papa?" And he said, "Between the night and nowhere." Ooh.
Aw.
And when I heard that line, I just went, "Oh my goodness!" I want to
That's
build
colour.
between them. I want to build between the night and nowhere. I want to. So it is very surreal. It's. I built the whole bottom half of the world is like Costa Rica. I live in Costa Rica, and it's like a Costa Rica in March during the burning of the cane fields, when everything is all smoky and there's fires all over the place in the fields, and so you get into this wonderful tour that Dale provided, and it takes you around this world. Then it takes you up into the mountains, and it takes you up into a place where Nat built her own installation, which talks about her dream. The dream that she had. It's really quite an interesting world. Yeah, you ride on horseback. You get out of the car. You jump on a horse on the second level. It's quite a world, and really Dale did some amazing. Some amazing scripting, because it's not that easy to get a big car like that. Instead of plowing through the mountains, actually have it climbing the mountains and things like that. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness, it was crazy. Yeah.
I'm curious to know, Dale, when you got involved in Second Life, did you think any of this was going to happen?
Wow.
Was-
Well, I like to say that I came for the interesting software related things and stayed for the people. So actually, the fact that I ended up writing code is not much of a surprise. That's sort of what I thought I would be doing. But the fact that I'd be doing it in collaboration with so many artistic people and have a years long collaboration with someone in Costa Rica, then none of that is something that I expected. Definitely, that was pretty amazing.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
And now, of course, we see the reemergence of the metaverse, where they're taking all the things that turned out not to be important and emphasizing them as as new inventions. But maybe we shouldn't go down that
Oh,
road.
but
Right?
yeah, I mean, you just can't even listen to those people, because it's just,
Oh, you can't.
it's just, they just invented
Yeah.
hot water or something. It's like, yes, we know.
Yeah. Gag,
It's
really.
like dealing
No.
with children
Yeah.
who want to show you that what they've just discovered, and imagine that they've just invented simply because they didn't know about it previously.
Really.
Really.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, that was a fabulous. That was a really wonderful experience working with Nat too. Nat had never built anything with me before, and then we filmed it. It's a movie. It's a YouTube, and and I also recite the poem. It's a poem, and I recite the poem, and you drive through. Watch
Which,
them. Yeah, drive around.
which YouTube was this? Is it one I've got
It's
here?
called Between the Night and Nowhere. I'll give it to you just a second.
No, I haven't got it here. So it's,
Okay. Yeah, I'll just hand it to you, just to give it to you, just for the collection.
Yes, yeah. I've
Okay.
got, I haven't. I've got a few of yours. I've actually downloaded.
Well, Nat and I actually did.
I haven't actually got it here on the stage, so to speak. So.
Well, Nat and I did 29 movies together. The 29th movie was actually done posthumously. She had a lot of footage that she had given to me, but not all of the footage, maybe half the footage. And then she passed away. And all the footage that she had that could have finished the movie was on her computer, and there was no way of getting it back, to me. So I just used with what I had, and I finished the movie. It's actually, and there's lines that run right through the movie in the middle, like just explaining that Nat passed away at this part, and all of the rest is what I had, and I had the soundtrack, and I had some footage. Anyway, it actually turned out pretty well, didn't it, Dale? Do you think? It did. I mean, I'm glad I did it. People were everybody, even the other filmmakers, said, "Good thing you did this, Karima." I made this. This is a big project for us. We had worked on it for 2 years, and Nat was so sick that she couldn't finish the project, and she was going to be operated on. This is right before, well, she passed away on the 3rd of September. She was supposed to go into hospital the 9th of September and have a, not a heart transplant, but have a artificial heart put in, waiting for a transplant. And she said, as soon as I get out of the hospital, we're finishing this movie. Oh, so I finished it for her, That's a nice one too. Yeah.
Let me let's take 5 minutes off and play Natasha around Memorial.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Appropriate place with it. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah. And I invite everybody to come. It's a beautiful memorial, really. It is.
It is.
You'll enjoy it. You'll have fun, even if you never knew Nat. You'll enjoy meeting her.
That music.
Very haunting.
It's very evocative.
There's the car.
Becoming quite a big fan of piano music these days.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the world, we actually have like 4 full-length features, and we have a bunch of clips. And Nat's own wonderful clips of her airplane, her plane movies,
Yeah,
that she
yeah.
was so
Oh,
involved. So you see everything. You'll get to know Nat in every way, with me, without me. You know, it's just to honor her because she was very special.
she crossed my radar very early on, but only I erroneously sort of bracketed her as the airplane thing, the airplane filmer.
Yeah, yeah, she was
I
amazing.
thought that was it, like an old aircraft too, and little machinima of. Don't know whether she did World War II type stuff, but
She did World War II also. Yeah,
yeah,
and we
there's the
sent her
ball.
off.
There's the ball.
Yeah, there's the
Hmm?
ball. You'll see everything. Yeah, so these are the worlds that she filmed. This is the one from the one I just told you about, the Between the Night and Nowhere. That was her section, and this is a section that's with Joey. Joey was another German woman that from Second Life, and they collaborated in making like graphic novels. She did that, and she would make the trailers for her books. She sold books for adolescents, like adolescent readers in German. So a lot of that there's a section there for Joy. Joy worked with me, and I gave her a section to do because, she also cared for Nat very, very much and was another collaborator of hers. This is all Joy's things.
Oh, I think I probably can. I'll lock on the table again. Yeah, don't know what happened there, but
Oh, this is a wonderful one. On the world, the dice fall just when they're falling in the movie. That's Dale. That's
That
Dale's
worked so well.
magic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Dale's magic.
look at all this stuff.
Yeah, everything about her, really, what she loved. Yeah, it's
It
huge.
was
You
a
could
life
dance
well
with her.
lived. It's sad that we lost her so young, but
Yeah,
it was a
so
life
young.
well
Yeah.
lived. And
Oh my God, she was
so
amazing.
many
Yeah,
memories.
yeah. I'll never find anybody again like that to work with in the video machinima area. Very special collaboration. And we gave her a send off in this world. We send her off just how she would have loved it that way. We send her off, taken off. She leaves us. Yeah.
Appropriate, yeah.
Yeah, very perfect. Yeah, she takes off. In front of you, you're sitting in the bleachers. She buzzes over and she goes off into, hits the sim wall just beautifully and just goes into like fireworks. And, beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, she comes.
Wonderful. And sad, though.
There she was. Well, thank you for showing that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
One of the first things I grabbed, I thought we really have to share that one. So,
Thank you so much, really. Yeah.
So back to your pictures, if you wish.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, we'll give you one or two more. Dale? Are you
Yeah,
changing
we've got
pictures?
well,
Yep. Sorry, I was lying down.
Oh, creation. Well, you've all been to creation too, so
Yeah.
yeah. So this is just so you know, this world, the idea for this world was born in Jordan. I was in Jordan in 2018, and I had a dream in Jordan, and I was talking to Dale in the dream, and I
Mm.
said, "Oh wow, I just started a brand new world in Kitely," and he said, "You did? What's it called?" I said, "It's called creation." That was it. I
Wow.
said, so I write, well, I had to wait till I got back home. I could hardly, I couldn't get into Second Life. I was on a very strange, internet system. But anyway, as soon as I got back to Costa Rica, I immediately just grabbed a piece of land and called it creation. And I had no idea once again, but I did have an idea. And then I started talking about it with Dale. And this was a very much totally collaborative build that Dale just didn't script a chair. Everything was just very, yeah, it's lots of fun.
Yeah.
It's a surprise. It was one of our first major, I think people love creation. They do. Everybody that goes loves creation. It's gotten a very good
Yeah.
reception. Yeah.
It's sort of one of the more sophisticated in terms of it's a tour in that you sit in a chair and it takes you places, but then it lets you off for a while so you can look around at a place, and then at your
Oh
leisure you
yeah.
get back on and it takes you to the next destination. I'm pretty proud of that one.
Yeah, really. Really. Yeah, you should really you should be. Yeah, really. So that was creation. And I don't know the one after
Yeah,
creation.
let's
What was the last one?
see. Oh
Oh,
yes,
yeah, the
it's the
mountain. Oh, the
mountain.
mountain. Yeah, this is an interesting one. I bet you the safari would like this one too. This is actually about two things. It's about the wonderful art of the Swedish artist Marcus. I guess you'd say Marcus in English. I'm going to say in Spanish, Marcus.
Right.
Marcus de Quezon. Okay, Quezon, I guess we'd say. And he does these amazing, like, covers people's faces, whole body shrouded. That's one of his main things. Plus that, he does children and he does strange things. Anyway, I fell in love with his art, and actually got in touch with him, and I said I was building a virtual world and I wanted to focus on two things: the Philippine eagle and his art. And would he allow me to do that? He said, "Oh yeah, go for it. Sure, yeah.
That's
Just let me
great.
see, to give me the address." And he never came. He never came to see it in the flesh, but he saw pictures of it and he loved it. So he gave me full permission to use his art. He's really a big artist. If you look him up, you'll
this
see he's
this
wonderful.
this picture has just hit home all of a sudden because this very morning I was flicking through some news feeds, not metaverse stuff or anything like that, and it had oh, is it called a ravener? I think it's in Scotland. The guy who looks after the big birds, yeah,
Uh-huh.
and they're not allowed to use drones, so he actually strapped a camera onto the back of this huge bird, and the video has sort of gone a bit viral. Although they've cheated a bit, they've sort of looped it and made it look more spectacular than it is.
Uh-huh.
But I mean, you're seeing this bird, and it's like that program where the woman is flying on the dragon, except this is real. These are
Yeah.
real wings.
Yeah.
You see at the side
Beautiful.
supporting the bird. It's actually just astonishing. It looks like drone footage, but 100 times better actually. But
Wow.
you pulled up this picture, and I suddenly thought, hey, hang on, this is a still from.
Well, actually, when you arrive at the mountain, you have to
Yeah,
teleport up to a point, and then you walk, up a mountain, up until
yeah,
you get to the top, and there's an eagle waiting for you, and you just lay on it, and it takes you back down in a
it
really
takes you back
spectacular
down.
way. Yeah, it's fun, but it was before Animesh, and so it's a prim eagle, but Dale made it fly, made it flap, made it fly, have sounds. It's still a little stilted, but it's still
Mhm.
it gives a beautiful
It's not
ride
as
down.
fancy as Animesh, but it
No,
works.
not at all like Animesh, but still wonderful. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's a fun world. Oh, this is very special to me.
Memorial, yeah.
This is another memorial world, but this is very personal to me. But just to explain that this man lived with us for 35 years, lived with my mother first, just a friend of hers from Hollywood, if you must know, a friend of hers from Hollywood, and then lived in my household for like the longest time. Okay, like almost 35 years, and
Well,
he was just he was just a friend. But what he did, Mal, is he made himself. He picked a role. He became our butler, quote unquote. We never really were looking for a butler, but he played the role so beautifully. We had the only butler in all of Costa Rica in our little town, our little small town. Gina was our butler, but what he really was, amazingly, is that he was a dress designer and he had a shop in Beverly Hills in the 60s. Can you believe it?
So cool.
And he also was a window dresser for Tiffany's, like in the 50s. And he was in the Korean War. So I wanted to tell his story. So
my
it's kind of a long story, but just know that right before Gino, we gave him his end here at the house. We never put him in the hospital. He wanted to die here where he had lived all these years, and so I made that possible. And so I took care of him. And just a few days before he died, he was flapping his arms. I said, Gino, what are you doing? And Gino said, oh, I've got to change into a butterfly. I said, oh, I said, well, if you change into a butterfly, I love you just as much as I love you, like this. And he said, I can't do it today. He said, maybe tomorrow. So like 3 days later, he changed into a butterfly, literally before our eyes, and we just we made this world in his homage for him, and we include all of his drawings of his wonderful fashion models. They're parading all over the world. If we'd have known Kim Starr, we could have made all animeshes out of his fashion clothes. Too bad, but we didn't know her then. But it's really it's an emotive world. But people, I know Rosa loved the world. She went twice to see it. Even if you don't know who Gino is, he has a fantastic story.
Yeah.
Fought
It
in.
really is a wonderful story.
It's a wonderful story. He's brilliant. And this is he moved to Costa Rica, actually, and lived in the boonies. The wilds of well, we all did, lived in the wilds of Costa Rica. And there he was up there with a wood burning stove and his chickens and everything, still fashion designing, still making his fashion designs. So I have his pictures are all over my house. And when we had a party for him, a month before he died was his 85th birthday, and so we just invented this wonderful birthday party for him, and he was well enough a month before that he could actually enjoy it. And so we gave away to everybody that came to the party to please take to take one of his fashion designs. So that was a good thing. But by doing this world, now I've given it to the world. Anybody who wants to see Gino's fashion designs and his legacy that he left behind, come visit Gino's Butterfly. Yeah.
That's a wonderful story.
Oh, thank you. It's a wonderful world. It really is. It's a beautiful world. Yeah.
Oh, I should ask, are all these worlds in Kitely?
All of them are in Kitely,
Yes.
yes. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I had to put a world away because I really only have like the right to have 20 worlds, and AI Dreams and Art is my 21st. So I put away a world that I wasn't really invested in that much, from the very beginning. And so, yeah, but all of these are in Kitely, and they're all viable at this point. Yeah, all of these are, yeah.
Right.
Come visit.
Hey guys, I've loved being with you. It's been a wonderful visit to learn so much about Dale and Karima and your art.
Yeah,
But it's
we're
getting
at the
very late here.
Yeah.
Yes.
I noticed we're at the 90
you.
minutes here, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, what I think we might do then is round up the main bit of this, and then if James is still game, I will actually run a few of your actual films,
Yeah.
just to round us
Sure.
off, including Seek Wisdom and stuff. And before Thirza goes, I'm going to pick one here that is only 1 minute and 30 seconds, because I thought we should show something of one of the places we went on safari this week. And you'll like this too. There's very great similarities in the psychedelic thing and the strangeness.
Nice.
So we were on a boat, and yes, we were traveling around this large region, and well, you probably know more about it, Thirza, than I do. Just before you go.
Yes, the Dewdrop Islands. They're by Aziaz and Danger Lytton, and they're a similar kind of setup as you guys. Danger is the script guy and also a creator, and Azzy is an artist. And they also, like yourselves, they also don't live in the same part of the world. So, but they have this wonderful collaboration and partnership. And so they built this this world, which is a kind of it's a take on the film Avatar, but then sort of expanded and taken in different directions from the film. But there's this a basic mythology about the trees that are sentient trees and that sort of occupy this moon. I think it's a moon going around a much bigger planet. And so, yeah, we had a great time. Danger, he's a big ship person. He builds ships. He has a whole load of stuff to do with maritime life. In fact, the name of the grid is the Shipyards Grid. And so he got us all on the boat, and we sailed all the way around the sim. Yeah, it really was fun.
Great.
Plenty of animesh and just a lot of imagination. But like yourselves, there's a huge backstory that goes into the sim. So you have a great depth of what's this word I'm looking for? A lot of signifiers on the island. So yeah, lots of stuff you can explore by foot. But we got to go around in the ship, which was lovely because that meant we all stayed together and could enjoy it as a group. And no lag too.
Well, that's cute. I think we're also working on having Danger and Co in on one of our Inworld reviews. Not immediately.
Yes, hope so.
In a few weeks' time, I guess. So I've got quite a bit of film of this, so we'll better revisit it then rather than now.
Sure.
But there we are on the boat or whatever. Yeah. So the only other thing I can think of. We had your news at the beginning, Thirza, but just quickly, because we never did these, your blog for this week. You'll find this at hgsafari.blogspot.com. And Thirza's got, well, Spooked here. This is the French one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Was that from this week, or did we see this last week?
That was, from a couple of days. It was Thursday. Because the Frenchies go on a Hypergrid tour the first Thursday of every month. And this month they went to Quebec to see the build by Dabichi and Kelso, which was the Halloween build. I think it's coming to a close in these days. So if you didn't go, you should go because there's a hunt you can explore as well. And again, that's exactly the same thing. Kelso is a big scripter. Dabichi organizes the sim. They both are creators, and they redo their sim for every season of the year. It's a Canadian sim, so it's always the same theme that is set in Canada where they live, their part of the world, but they change it so that it fits the various seasons. So the next one up will be the winter one. But we went to the spring one too, which was really fun because they had the maple syrup and everything. It was really interesting. It's informative, but it's also very attractive and it's very interactive. So
Nice.
I loved it.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's beautiful.
There's so many things to see in OpenSim. I don't know how anybody could be bored.
No,
Yeah.
no way. Are you kidding?
That's for sure.
And it's also really nice to go and see what other people are doing and support them. I'm sure that's the same for you guys. That you can get so involved in just doing your own thing, which of course you do need that time to do that, and you can't always be going around and about. But just going to see what other people are doing, it supports them, but it also kind of can give you an idea. Oh,
That's right.
maybe this.
That's right.
And the scripting especially, because the cross-pollination between scripters is a huge thing. I remember Kelso telling me, and also Roland, who we went to see the week previous, problems with the script that he just couldn't get to work the way he wanted it to. Talked to another couple of scripters, and he solved his problem. And now he has Animesh that can herd. That's Roland Francis, which is something, if you have unicorns or something, you want them to be able to walk around, not just kind of stand there.
Right.
So,
Yeah. That's an amazing
So
thing.
it's nice
Yeah.
to share, that's a great thing. It's just sharing.
Totally. I totally agree. Totally agree.
Again,
And this was also Maya Paris's build. Do you remember Maya?
Yeah, I do. I remember
Karima?
mine.
Yeah,
Yes,
so
I
she
do
has
very
a
much.
build that, yeah, she has a build that is still on OpenSim, and that's over on Airmail Flux. And this is this is the article about it, because it's called Source, and it's all about finding the secret source of true love.
Wow.
this
Source.
is quite,
Right to
quite.
the source.
I didn't quite ever figure out what I was meant to be doing with going through all those set of boxes and stuff, and I crashed it at one point, so I don't know whether.
Yeah, it did crash in. Sadly, the grid owner was not able to be there on the day, so he let us go, but we kind of knew that there was a good chance that we were going to crash. So, but everybody came back. We didn't lose a single person, so
Yeah.
it was pretty good. That just shows the Safari people are pretty robust.
Really?
Cool.
Really?
This
And this
final,
is
this final one is the same one we just saw a little bit of. Yeah.
Yes, and so this was our second destination, which was at Azzy's place over there.
Okay,
You usually see them on OS Grid. People think of them as OS Grid people, which they are, but they also have a separate grid, their own private grid, run by Danger, and that means that when OS Grid occasionally goes offline, they can just continue as if nothing happened, because they have their own grid, and he can
That's
just
great.
put the sims on that grid instead. So it's almost seamless. Just the address is slightly different. So
there was our boat again.
yeah, it was a fun time.
Yeah.
Looks like
Oh
fun.
yeah.
And so I don't know if you've ever seen my blog, Karima, but I like to put in the chat the things that people say. Obviously, not
yeah.
all of it.
Oh, I have
It's
seen. Of
edited
course,
for
I've seen your
time and
blog.
stuff.
Of course, I have.
Oh,
I
that's
commented.
nice.
I'm one of the few comments you get. Because people don't usually comment on
That's
blogs.
right,
No, it's
of
true.
course, yes. So
I'm a
so I
commenter.
like to put in some of the chat so that people know if they come on the Safari, they're going to end up in a little bit in the conversation. And
Yeah,
so
I
that
love
sort
that.
of, I try to make it so that it's as if you came with us if you didn't get a chance. So you
That's
see what
great.
people say.
Yeah, that's great.
Mr. James there, flashy cousin.
And it's usually James is in it, yeah.
Yeah. Well, James monopolizes.
Oh, and the crab, that was the best part. The crab, that was like the highlight of the whole visit.
Anything you can sit on, excluding crabs, of course.
Wow, beautiful. Look
I
at
don't think you could sit on that
Love it.
crab, could you?
Nope.
Did you try sitting on that, James?
I did, and I could not.
I knew he tried. I knew he tried. He sat in the sandcastle, but sadly I didn't get a very good picture of that. Because people were moving about now. I just wasn't quick enough.
Oh boy, that crab is something else.
The crab was the highlight.
Okay, well, you can find all these reports, as it were, every week, of course. I mean, there's usually a post each for each stop on the safari, and then a couple of other posts from other ones. And I am definitely, as I say, putting the Franco safari, I'm definitely putting in my diary, because I've never miss it. If it's not in my diary, I miss it. Okay, the final web page. I don't know where this, because we've got Karima here, of course. Digital Rabbit Hole. This is Karima Hoisan.com. It says KARIMAHOISAN.com. And this is your last blog post, I think, September 4th, which was discussing the region we were looking around in earlier.
Right. Yeah, it's not my last post, but it was probably my last post about the first post actually about AI dreams and art, because I had just planted a picture. When I plant a picture, that's how the world starts, So
Yeah.
I planted a picture, and then all of a sudden it starts. So that was in September. So let's see, it was August, September, October. It was probably like 2.5 months to do this last one. Yeah, it was. Yeah. But I'm so glad I'm so glad you spent so much time. When I saw, wow, Mal was on the world for hours, I went, oh, that's wonderful. I love that.
Oh, you've got a ticker thing that told you I was there.
Yeah, I had a ticket thing that told me. It told on you. It told me that you were there for hours. I went, that's fabulous. I love that.
Oh,
Yeah.
that is today, November 5th.
Yeah, Uber ballooner. You don't know what I do in my real life. See, I'm admitting
Yeah,
that I definitely am into balloons. I have a whole room full of helium balloons, and I'm getting into even further into it. I'm an
But
Uber ballooner, is what I am.
many, oh, but this one's Dale, of course. Many of your posts are like this one, where you've got maybe a picture or something, but then you've got the poem, and I missed the fact you're not reciting it, although this is Dale's, of course. So.
Right, right.
Yeah, you just sort of read it, and they're great to read too. There's just nothing that quite beats you on film.
No, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, we can't get her to voice every single poem she writes, unfortunately.
But I
well,
do. I've been doing it. No, people have been telling me. I have been trying to do about every 3 poems. Maybe I'll voice one of them. Sometimes they just don't really lend themselves as much. They're very short or they're very whatever. But yeah. But thank you. I hear you because because people have told me that they really enjoy when I do spoken word, as they say, spoken word on my.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I've been in this blog since 2010, so I started a long time ago. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm very used to it. Although I can never remember the name. Digital Rabbit Hole.
Digital Rabbit Hole. Yeah, I actually got that as a name. Nobody had that name yet in 2010. I thought that was kind of cool.
You can just type Karima Hoisan into the search bar, though. That works too.
It's so funny because sometimes when I'm on certain other programs, I start rambling and getting off track. James and I have this thing of me telling him, "Oh, I've gone down the rabbit hole again."
Right. Yeah.
But no, I mean, I've subscribed to this for ages, but I always think Karima. I don't think Digital Rabbit Hole. But that's understandable.
Well, thank you. Thank you for thinking of me.
Okay, so we've got through a bit of things now. I know. So we've certainly overdone our 90 minutes. But if you guys want to stay around a little bit, not Thirza, but we can look at some of your films, and you can make. Are there any other places in your slideshow we haven't got to?
Oh, it's okay, really, because there were 14 worlds, and I think we talked a lot about the last one. So I think we're good. I think we've
I'm going to watch
you
the rest of the show tomorrow. I'm going to enjoy watching it.
Right.
Thank you so much for letting me be on the show, Mal.
Sorry?
And lovely. Thank you so much for letting me be on the show, and it's lovely to see you all.
Thank you. Good to see you too, so thank you.
I need to thank you.
And I'll definitely be watching you tomorrow when the show is brought on YouTube. Okay, bye-bye, guys.
Okay.
Bye-bye. Bye.
So I don't know how much of a rush everybody else is in. No, certainly we don't want to be here for more than about 20 minutes more at most. But we could go. I'd like to. You and Natasha, of course, won a prize for this one called Seek Wisdom.
Well, actually, we didn't win. We've never won one, but we got second place in the UWA, which is a very big prize in itself. And it was the first movie that Nat and I had ever made together. That was in 2012, 10 years ago.
I actually remember it well, and I actually was one of the judges.
Oh, you were? Did you vote for us?
No, I remember it from the submissions then. It's so long ago I can't remember. There was quite a few judges, and they tallied up all and stuff like that. But I mean, I thought it was a landmark film, so I thought I would show it, and it's only 4.5 minutes.
Thank you.
Good to have a go at it. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Why, if we have knowledge, do we have wisdom? Can it be acquired like a degree when we finish school? Why? Or could we have a doctorate on our wall and a tenure and still be totally the fool? How can we be wise in some things while ignorant in others, knowledgeable but still not bona fide? Why? Is it something like an absolute? Or can it change, and how do we judge? Who can decide? How? Siddhartha found founded in a river, in the flowing water, in the ceaseless flow. Ruby found it in the reeds, and in a pot of chickpeas boiling, and in the melting snow. I need to know. Can we learn it all in books? I need to know everything. Or must we live it? Is it only just a theory until applied? If I know everything. Can we learn it from the sages along the way? Maybe I will understand. Who shine their light upon us from their wise, worn eyes. Take a slow freighter around the world. Take the courses that send your soul to sea. Take a chance and take your time. For wisdom can be close and yet be hidden in invisibility. Why? Einstein found it in the universe.
Okay.
While the Madre Teresa of Calcutta found it in humanity. Why? Santa Teresa de Avila found it in her inner garden, and the gardener came to feed her morsels of it daily. Wow. A farmer learns it from the land and speaks the subtle language of the tides and moon. How? A mother learns it from the wordless bonding with her child on a lazy, rainy afternoon. Wow. Seek knowledge because we are born with the question, why? For everything we see. How? It is our curse and it is our blessing. This compelling how and why of human destiny. Wow. But wisdom can be absent in a lesson, yet glowing in the teacher who is its messenger and guide. But we know it when we see it, in the eyes. I need to know. And if we listen to its voice, I need to know everything. Within us it might abide. If I know everything. And I believe the more we know, maybe I will understand. The more we practice this in living, the closer we become to what we see. Why? I believe the more we live and learn, and the older that we get. How? We might have gathered wisdom along the way. If we are lucky. Why? I need to know. Siddhartha found it in a river. I need to know. In the flowing water, in the ceaseless flow. If I know everything.
Wonderful.
That's great.
Thank you.
Considering how long ago that was, I mean, all the hallmarks of well, there's so many hallmarks in there of what you've done since. That one particular, I mean, it had that, it had your voice. You can never not mistake it again.
Thank you.
But on
But
that,
it
on
had
that,
Nat's filmmaking.
yeah, but on that track, also the sound was so important because you were multi-tracking. There was some male voice there. I
No, I
think.
did all. Those are all my voices. Just putting it down a register, two
Yeah,
registers.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but so
I did all
you
them.
know, the sound, you know, the images, and but combined with the actual poem plus the sound mix, you know, it was
Uh-huh.
just it made it a very complete thing.
Oh,
And
thank you.
you say it was one of your first, if not the
It
first.
was the first that we ever did. Nat said we should do something together, and that was
Yeah.
what we chose to do together first. And just a backstory really quick about this. In my real life, at that moment that I was working on the soundtrack, I was living on the floor of a hospice. My very closest friend from Jordan, she's actually was an Iraqi, she was dying in a hospice in Texas, and I was on the hospice floor for 2 weeks with her, and I was making this soundtrack at that time. Isn't that
Mhm.
crazy?
Wow.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
it was just so strange, and so I always remember exactly when this was, 2012.
I suppose sometimes it's those moments that aren't particularly pleasant. I suppose like people writing the blues, but those,
Yeah,
that is what generates the creativity. You know,
yeah, that's true. I agree with you.
if you've been sitting on the beach just worrying about it, for example, you probably wouldn't have come up with something like.
That's probably very true. And yeah, and I was, yeah, that was, yeah, it was just an amazing timing that it just turned out that way. I had just started the soundtrack. I actually I couldn't record anything there. I had to wait until after she passed away, July 3rd. But I actually wrote the poem and, started working on the music in my ears. I couldn't really record. I just did the music. I could do that in GarageBand on the floor of the hospice. But until afterwards, I recorded it actually, but yeah, with my voice. But yeah, interesting. Yeah,
Wonderful.
that was our beginning. That's my beginning, and And I
Yeah.
remember saying, "Oh, I hope that you'll allow me to do another film with you sometime." I was in awe of Nat. Nat was really quite already famous as a really beautiful, wonderful film director and editor, especially so good in editing. And I was like just in awe of her. So when she invited me to do that, I was like, oh, really? And we had success, so it was wonderful. We kept going after that. Yeah.
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 Yeah, you got a good legacy there. So you're well over what? Over the
29 videos together, but big videos, not small videos, big
yeah,
29
about
productions. Yeah.
yeah, and what
Mhm.
about a decade, spanning a decade, I suppose, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
yeah, well, great legacy.
Well,
Meanwhile,
thank you.
I've been flipping through what was the rest of your sides there, and they all actually seem to be from the I forgot the name of the latest.
AI Dreams and Art.
AI Dreams and
Yeah,
Art.
Yeah, right, right.
yeah. So
Mhm.
in fact, yeah, I don't think there's actually any new regions in that thing that we did.
No, I
So
think that was it actually.
Yeah, we
yeah,
did spend a good amount of time on that one, so that's it.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
yeah,
were putting it up, and it was taking. Yeah, oh, there's the eagle. That was it. Yeah, I don't know what the. Yeah, and the dice are back.
yeah. So you saw the actual movie. So yeah, so exactly, we saw
Yeah,
the movie of that.
exactly.
So yeah, good.
Okay.
Is it?
Well, it's been wonderful having you.
Oh,
Let me start with James and see if he's got any questions for you because
mhm,
he might be very quiet, but busy filming, but he might have some questions. James.
No, it's been a great pleasure to watch. This is fantastic, and
Cool.
wow, again the scripting and the modeling design is just so thrilling. So thank you.
well,
Oh,
thank you.
good.
Hmm.
Please come visit anytime.
Oh,
Some of the ones
absolutely.
that,
Yeah.
yeah, really, they're lots of fun. Good, and thank you again too, Mal, really for having us. It's an
Um,
honor for me, and also always a pleasure. To
yeah,
Yeah,
always
so
no,
cool.
it's always great to see you. And actually, I mean, for the first time, I've had Dale here too, which is
Yeah, it's
Yeah, it's been
great.
fun.
Yeah, the man behind the scenes in many cases.
I
Yeah,
feel like I've arrived now. I've been on this show.
you have.
you've
You're
been on
right.
the Inworld Review. You've arrived. You're a
Yes,
megastar.
that's
That's
it.
right, exactly.
You made it.
Exactly.
Anyway,
Well,
well,
I am. Yeah.
mhm.
Will take us out, right, with I'll give you a choice here, really. I got
Okay.
Flowers of the Nile, Dissolving and Becoming, You Brought the Music, and Green Screen.
Oh,
Which,
take us out on green screen. That's a lot of fun. That's an upbeat song.
That
Just
would
take
be
us out on
excellent.
green
Yeah.
I was
screen.
gonna,
Yeah,
I was going to say two choices. So Green Screen
yeah.
will be
This is
one.
my music too, but I had a friend who's actually well, my son actually has a band, not rock and roll, but Latin band, and
Yeah.
his keyboardist was the one that actually put a little touch of keyboard on it. It's so cool. He made it more Latinized. So yeah, this is a fun
Okay.
one.
Well, we'll play You Brought the Music and Green Screen. And
Okay,
that should take us up.
okay,
That
That's
should, if
fun.
I've counted right, take us up to the 2 hour mark. But we'll
okay. Whoa. Okay.
Well, indeed.
Oh, this is. Can I tell about a little bit about this? Well, I guess
yeah,
you're going to listen,
sure,
but.
sure, yeah.
But just quickly, this really was a dream, and then it really was a poem. And the person that I dreamt about in the dream, he was part of the group that follows me in WordPress. He's also a writer, a poet. His name is Sundaram. And so he said, wow, I would love to see this poem as a movie. And I said, well, you never know, dreams can come true. And I made the movie. I dedicated it to him because he gave me the idea to make the poem into a movie. There, I won't say any more.
Lovely.
I'd never heard before. It's really about tolerance, because in the dream, I mean, I'm a Muslim and they're two Hindus, and yet we all dance together, which would be like impossible probably in real life, but in the dream it was very possible. The arms in the air and move so gracefully.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Well, as religions go, they have a lot in common, I think, really.
Yeah, some. Yeah, but it's always better not to speak religion. I never talk about religion with either of these people. They're both my friends, actually. They really are people that I know in WordPress. They're both writers. They're both poets. And I built their faces, and I mean, the characters off of them in real life, so it's interesting. Yeah. Yeah. Or praying or hearing lectures. Some were sitting and some were kneeling, and some were meditating. I was wondering if we might be trespassing, but I saw that the center of the park was free. The sun shone down upon our faces, and we all felt so alive. The warmth, the smells, the music, and their beautiful hands stretched up almost touching the sky. Our feet swaying and twirling to the beat. I looked over at you, laughing, and I was laughing too. You mouthed the word and the wind brought it to my ear. In a tone of joyous abandonment, you whispered, magic. And the people in the corners of the park began to leave. Some were walking to their cars, some were walking down the street. But a few came walking towards us, as if they had something they wished to say. We never stopped our dancing, but we looked towards them on their way. The taller man, as the spokesman for them all, addressed himself to me.
You know these men are Hindu and you're Muslim.
He said accusingly.
And here you are dancing in this park in the light of day, in a public way. Do you have anything to say for yourself? Anything you could possibly say?
Well, yes, you are correct. I am Muslim, and they are Hindu. And just look how beautifully and gracefully we dance together.
Like the baby unicorn.
That's because it's not real. So that's not ever going to happen. No, it might. Inshallah. It might.
Something here is actually, I avoid religion like the plague anyway, to be honest, but all of them. But it's the music there too. I'm very partial. That's old, like it doesn't matter whether it's sitars or whatever, that Asian music. And quite frankly, I can't tell when I can hear sounds like that, but I wouldn't have known whether that sound comes from Hindu culture or from Islamic culture. It doesn't.
Yeah, it sounds like they're so similar. You're right. In the music area, very similar. I wrote this music out of using GarageBand loops, but the loops actually were, to be honest with you, they were some Indian loops. But just you're right. They sound very much. And look at at the end there. See, they're hula hooping together. That was a happy ending.
Loops and loops. There's a rhyme there, isn't there? Loops and hoops.
Yep, that's right. Loops and hoops. Yeah. Anyway.
Okay, let's end with cool. Here's the green screen.
Thank you. Okay. Then hop, move up and down, steal away like our flexy hair like Medusa, sitting in a corner. told the truth because to find out now was rough. It was all made of sand and mirrors, paint and special effects. Well, nobody is perfect, and the scene was so complex. You were standing in front of a shopping mall. You were standing in the sand at the Black Sea. You were standing in Seattle on a farm of their cattle. Everything behind you was a green screen. You were standing in front of the Eiffel Tower. You were standing on the track of the Grand Prix. You were standing in Belfast or Bucharest. Everything behind you was a green screen. Everything behind you was a green screen. Everything inside you was a green screen. Everything around you was a green screen. You weren't really, really, really real, but only two of us could see. Everything behind you was a green screen. Everything inside you was a green screen. Everything around you was a green screen. You weren't really, really, really real, but only two of us could see. Thank you.
That is so catchy. I mean, it's by complete contrast. Complete contrast to the music.
It explains a lot if you just think that everything is a green screen. It does explain a lot, you know.
Yeah, well, exactly. It's not only catchy; it's true.
Yeah, unfortunately, sadly.
And
Yeah.
in most instances, not so obviously as you did it.
I'm so glad you enjoyed that. That was a fun one to
Yeah,
do for sure. Yeah.
That's a real
Thank you.
sing-along. You should revive that somewhere.
Thank
we,
you.
we can't have live sing-alongs in OpenStream, you know, using Inworld voice.
Oh,
but
wouldn't that be fun? Karaoke with some videos, machinimas.
actually, the tune sounded very familiar. Though I think it's more a case of it being generic, isn't it? So that, it's sort of
Yeah.
reminds me of that sort of. Al Stewart did an album called Between the Wars. All
Between
his
the Wars.
songs had that feel to them. In other words, it was like the music of a period that I suppose 20s and 30s at most, you know.
Right.
But yeah, music hall almost. I don't know. It's ridiculously catchy anyway. So
Well, thank you for ending on this one. That was a fun one. I'm really glad
Definitely.
you did.
A
Yeah,
good upbeat ending.
I can play it again and you can sing along.
No, it's another time. That was kind of my singing debut too, almost my singing debut on YouTube. Anyway.
I mean, you know, this was. I mean, this is the magic. It's not just your voice and the haunting stuff that I particularly love in the poetry, but the variety. I mean, you know, that was not anything that you call run-of-the-mill Karima.
No, it's not. No,
There is
I'm
no
always
such
surprised.
thing.
No, I'm
That's
always
right.
surprised. Actually, I'm shocked sometimes what comes up in my mind to do. I don't even know where it comes from, really. Anyway,
Right. Well,
thank
we
you.
will close now because we've reached.
Okay.
I've
Yeah, I have
definitely
to get off.
Yeah.
I have to get back to real life too.
It's a shame
Okay.
we started a bit late, so we lost Thirza a bit.
Yeah. But it was wonderful. I loved it. I loved every minute of it. Thank you again now,
Great.
really. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I don't know how many more years it's going to be before you're back again. But
Well, we're doing about every 4, so let's hope we're all around in 4 years. Do it again.
are you free next week?
Hopefully. Okay.
Yeah, we could broadcast a video song.
Yeah, if I come out with a big hit, you can have me on again if I have one that actually takes off. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Well,
Okay.
it's been great. It's been great having you here, especially Dale. Great having you here for the first time.
Thank you. Great being here.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
yeah, the man in the back there, as it were. Always.
Yeah, but no longer in the back. He's the man in the front
Yeah.
now. Who's
Scaring
Yeah.
Thought all the sides. Yeah.
the story of Clara. Yeah, exactly.
A dynamic duo, to quote a phrase.
Oh, thank you.
Aw,
Oh, I love that, the dynamic duo. Nat and I were the team we
that's
called
right.
each other.
The team.
Just
Yeah.
the team, and now the dynamic duo. I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very
Okay.
good. Okay, well, we will call it quits here.
Okay.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much
this
again.
was great.
Thank you,
you.
James, as well. For
Thank you, James.
Yep.
Thank you.
Glad to help.
Okay.
And we will be back next week with another Inworld review, which is going to be a surprise.
Oh,
Ooh.
I'll tune in and see what it is.
I've forgotten who it is.
It's a surprise to you too, Val.
Definitely a surprise.
Thirza is keeping Thirza, I have to give much thanks to Thirza. I know she's gone now, but because she's really acting as a co-host, but she's also really keeping the thing momentum going. We're not
Oh,
missing.
that's wonderful.
We're not missing a week now. She finds people to, it's like Safari. She finds people to fill the show, and we pull out all the stops to produce it as
Right.
we can. So it's very good. But we will be back same time, same place next week. And for those of you who are watching live, nice one. If you're not watching live, you've no doubt found us on YouTube. So this program is there for you to recall and re-record and do everything with for eternity. Yeah. We're in the history books now. This program has happened.
Excellent.
As for next week too. So thanks everybody for being here. Thanks to Karima and Dale, of course, and
Thank
Jay.
you.
Yeah, pleasure.
We will be back next week. For now,
Okay.
it's
Bye.
it's a wrap.
Hey.
Oh,
Okay.
sorry, I forgot. Oh, James,
Really.
James is going to remind me that I forgot my new. It's an old tagline which I've got to start using again. Apparently, I got to wish everybody a very good morning, a very good afternoon, or a good evening, or indeed a good tomorrow, depending on wherever and whenever you are.
True.
Very good.
Amen.
Yeah. Okay.
That's
Bye-bye.
it.
I've got to run away too. I'm sorry. I have.